I have the best ever solution for creating consistent social media content. You are not going to want to miss this video. Let's dive in. Today, we are going to build a social media content house. Now, stick with me on this because this house that you build is going to provide social media content for you for days, weeks, months, maybe even years. Okay, so let's start building our house. The first step in building any house is building a really strong foundation, and we're starting with foundational content. Okay, so let's talk about foundational content. What is that content really? That content is basically the problem that you solve, the reason why people follow your account. And for me, if we were going to use an example, as a social media coach, trainer, and social media manager, people follow me because they want to learn how to do social media, how to do Instagram, how to write content. They want the how-tos, they want the tips, the tricks, all the things to keep them on their social media game. So figure out what it is that you do in your business or the reason why people follow you. That is your bread and butter. That is your foundational content piece. And so what I recommend doing when you draw that picture of the house and you've got the foundation there, go ahead and just scribble and brainstorm in there what type of content you believe is your foundational content that you serve your audience with. Okay, the next part is kind of fun. This is the support beams of your home. So I like to pick 4 because that gives you a nice, even, steady house, right? It's very secure. You've got 4 support beams there. So for me, my support beams may look like content that aligns with my foundation, that aligns with my target audience, that makes sense. It just all kind of goes together. And plus, as an entrepreneur, I am multifaceted. I have lots of interests in my business and I don't do just one thing. I do many things. However, I focus on my foundational piece, but I may accent that foundational piece with some other things. So what that would look like for me would be maybe podcasting. I talk about maybe some blogging or maybe some copywriting or how to do graphics as a social media manager. Those are 4 little support beams that I could talk about on a regular basis. So what would that look like for your business? And at the end of this little segment, I'll give some examples of what it might look like for different industries just to get those creative juices flowing. But I really want to go through the concept first. So you've got your foundation, now you've got your support beams, then there's 4 of them. And now we're going to talk about the rooftop. And the rooftop is like a smaller piece of the house, right? It's not the foundation, so it's not going to be really top heavy. And it's probably going to be content that is a little lighter in nature. And so what I like to call this is like the fun and games area. And what that looks like for me is you will see things about me, who I am, what makes Lora Shipman Lora Shipman. You'll probably meet my pets in those posts. You'll meet my family and understand about my family life. Some of my hobbies, you'll get to learn about that. Maybe you'll see some motivational quotes, those sort of things. So basically that rooftop is a collection of all the things that just make me me. It's like the icing on the cake. Okay, so the next thing we're going to talk about is some industry examples so that you guys can start building your social media content house. Okay, so let's talk examples, like what would happen in your world. I jotted down a couple of things. So the first one I want to address is real estate agents. So what would your foundational content look like? So if I were to pick for you, what I would do is I would position you as that local area expert where you know all the ish on everything that's going on in your community. You know the best schools to get into. You know, obviously, the markets, how the markets are doing, if it's a buyer's market, a seller's market, the new neighborhoods that are coming in on the scene, that kind of stuff. So you're the person who has the pulse on the community. So that's how I would position your foundational content. Then my support beams for you would be maybe how to buy a house, how to sell a house, how to get the most money for your house, or how to get the best mortgage. And I threw another one in there if you didn't like any of the ones I put, how to sell a house fast. So that's how I would categorize your support beams. Now, if you're an esthetician or into skincare, I would have your foundational piece be the importance of taking good care of your skin, why people need to do that. And then the 4 support areas, I would pick something like acne as one support beam, reactive skin, meaning like rosacea, people who get flare-ups really easily, anti-aging would be another support beam. And then the 4th one would be like procedures, maybe dermaplaning or waxing or something like that. So you have those kind of ideas. So think through what that would be for your industry. And then what the cool part is, when you're planning your content calendar, all you have to do is grab for a week, maybe 1 or 2 items from your foundation, and then maybe a couple from your support beams, and then 1 from the rooftop. And then you've got content for days, for years. And it's not so hard to pick up content and to get it flowing in your feed. So again, all you would do is pick 1 or 2 from the foundation, 1 from the support beams, and then 1 from the rooftop. Depending on how many times you post a week, you might want to pick 2 or 3 from the support beams. That's why I have 4 support beams there. And the other thing about support beams are you want to make sure you diversify those support beams, meaning that you don't always pick from one support beam, your favorite one that's easy to write about. You want to make sure it's diversified, because if you pick from one support beam, and if that was truly holding up a roof and holding up the house, it would get lopsided and it wouldn't hold up the house. You would lose your audience because you're only talking about one thing. This way, it guarantees you're going to appeal to your audience because you're talking about an array of things. All right, so that's how to build a content house. Let me know if this helped you out when it comes to creating your content plan for your brand.